It was all meant to be over by Thanksgiving. That was the message coming out of Washington. Nearly 4 years of war would be brought to an end by a threat by Donald Trump to pull the plug on remaining support for Ukraine if Volodymyr Zelenskyy failed to sign on the dotted line. Except that Trump's terms for peace, negotiated by his special envoy Steve Witkoff, turned out to be Russia's terms, quite literally so. Journalists at The Guardian pointed out that one of the early drafts was quite clearly an awkward translation from a Russian original, and no one had even bothered to rewrite it in idiomatic English. Across Europe, politicians asked out loud why Ukraine should give up territory that it still controls, and why it should limit its own army's ability to repel Russian invasions in the future, while getting nothing in return. No meaningful US security guarantees, and no meaningful concessions from Russia. And when the pushback against this plan became too loud to ignore, Donald Trump told reporters that this wasn't, quote, his final offer, as if this were all some giant game of poker. For many Ukrainians, it feels like Trump and his team only care about two things: getting it done, whatever that means, a deal of any kind, irrespective of whether it works or not, one that allows them to claim a win and maybe get a Nobel Peace Prize for their boss, and secondly, going back to business as usual with Putin's Russia. Bloomberg's transcript of a leaked conversation between Trump's envoy Steve Witkoff and his Russian counterpart Yuri Ushakov held few surprises for people here in Kiev, but it did confirm their worst fears. The call was full of mutual praise and tips from Witkoff to the Russian side on how best to manage Trump. After the Trump-Zelenskyy bust-up in the Oval Office earlier this year, it's hard to imagine anyone from Trump world speaking to the Ukrainians with anything like the warmth that Witkoff obviously has for his Russian counterpart. But in public at least, President Zelenskyy and the people around him are unlikely to respond to any of this. Instead, they're politely engaging with Trump's emissaries, making positive noises to the press, and basically keeping their heads down in the hope that when peace fails to materialize, they don't get blamed by Trump. However much Donald Trump wants this war to be over, to simply be gone, most people here in Ukraine are convinced that Vladimir Putin will not settle for anything short of full capitulation. And if the Europeans carry on their efforts and are able to turn this so-called peace plan from a Russian wish list into something that is a bit more of a true compromise between both sides, then the thinking goes Vladimir Putin will simply walk away and this war will rumble on.